this video, we will learn the taxation in detail. And as we mentioned about the growth of governments, so the majority of the inflow is coming from the tax. So it's very important for us to understand what is a tax and what kind of tax US have, and also at the same time to try to identify different tax we have is belonging into what type of tax. So taxes pay for the government spending, as we already understand. But one thing we have to understand, the opportunity costs of the public spending are not always apparent. So there is a change in the output mix as more government spending absorbed factors of the production that could be used to produce consumer goods. And so the opportunity cost of the taxation is measured by the private sector output sacrificed when government employees scarce factors of the production. So the more tax, the higher tax imposed actually usually will reduce the productivity because the producers' profit margin get reduced, and then they will no longer be able to produce as many as they want. And so we don't directly hand over factors of the production to the government. So the primary function of the taxes is to transfer command over resources or purchasing power from the private sector to the public sector. And so that's the function for the taxation is for the transformation and the try to close the income gap. So in this big pie, what we can see is for the government tax system and especially the federal tax. So the majority of the taxes is coming from the individual income tax. And then after that would be the Social Security taxes. And then after that is corporate income tax. So the last part would be others, such as 5% coming from the excise tax, and 1% from customs duty, and 1% for estate and gift taxes, and the last 2% will be others. So for the federal tax, we're starting from the income tax. So the income tax is the largest single source of the government revenue. As we mentioned in the previous video, so the income tax is the progressive tax. And so first, let's talk a little bit about income tax history in the United States. So the 16th Amendment to the United States Constitution, 1915, granted the federal government authority to collect income taxes. So it's a very long history. It is now the largest single source of government revenue. And so we already see the pie chart. So the majority portion of the pie is coming from the income taxation. And then actually nowadays, the government collects over $1.5 trillion in income taxes. And also the federal income tax, as I said, is a progressive tax. So what does a progressive tax means? So that is a tax system in which tax rate rise as income rises. So for instance, in 2017, a single person with less than $9,325 taxable income was taxed as 10%. So which means if you earn less than $9,325, you don't need to pay the tax. And the person with $37,950 to $91,900, so their taxable income paid at 25% tax rate. So if the person's income level is higher than $37,950, $37,950, and their actual money that is under $91,900, they have to pay 10% for the part over 25% over the $37,950. So the marginal tax rate is as high as 96.6% for person with over $418,400 of their income. So keep in mind, the income tax is a progressive tax system. So progressive means the more income you have, the higher tax rate you will be charged. So next, let's talk about the opposite case, which is called the regressive tax. So the regressive tax is opposite situation, which means as income rises, the tax rate actually gonna go down. So compare with those with the lower incomes. So this kind of regressive tax system with uh, will allow the people within the lower income, on the contrary, pay more taxes, but pay a smaller fraction of their income in the taxes. So when we talk about the regressive tax, and we have to mention the Social Security tax. So the Social Security tax is the Social Security payroll tax. It's the second major source of the federal revenue. We already see the pie chart. So the workers transfer part of their earning to retirement workers by making contribution to Social Security. So nearly $1 trillion was collected in 2017 in the matter. So the Social Security tax is belong to the regression tax system. So the regressive tax system. And next, we will talk about the corporate tax and the excise tax. So the corporate tax is the federal government tax, the profit of the corporation as well as consumer incomes. And despite a top corporate tax rate of 35%, this tax only netted the federal government about $350 billion. And for excise tax, so the excise tax taxes imposed on the certain goods and services, liquor, gasoline, cigarettes, and the telephone services are common example of the excise tax. By increasing the price, this tax discourages consumption and the production of these goods. And how about the property tax and the sales tax? And so the city depend heavily on the property tax, while state rely heavily on sales tax. So which means the property tax is charged major for local use. The sales tax is charged more based on the local use, also based on the local use as well. And so the state and the local tax tend to be regressive. So the regressive tax is a tax in which tax rates fall as income rise. So a regressive tax takes a larger share of income from the poor than from the rich. So this is due to poor consumers spending most of at all, if at all, of their income on taxed goods and services.